In less than 1 week, the Atlanta Falcons kick off the 2025 season with a home game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both teams spent the majority of their offseason fine-tuning their roster and aiming to make a playoff run. Tampa has led the division for quite some time now and has way more of an experienced roster, especially when it comes to the postseason. I know for a lot of fans, the question is, can they go further, an AFC Championship appearance or even the Super Bowl? But Atlanta is not quite in that same position. 2024 should have seen the tide turn, but a midseason collapse put us right back where we started. So the question for the Falcons is more so, can they finally make it to the postseason, something they haven't done since 2017. Atlanta has more hope heading into this season than they've had in recent years, and as a longtime Falcons fan, this is terrifying. The roster looks good. There's a good mix of raw talent, untapped potential, and veteran experience that makes me think we can win some big games. But the verdict on the coaching staff is still out. Raheem Morris has a lot to prove, and our newly hired defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich has quite the job ahead of him. So what can we expect in week 1? Obviously, I'm partial to the Falcons, so you're not going to catch me saying they'll lose, but the Bucs are a good team, and on top of them being a division rival, this is one hell of a way to start the season. If you're new here, my name is Cole, and I make videos about all things Atlanta Falcons. I'll be covering the entirety of the Falcons 2025 season, so make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, go ahead and leave me a comment on what you think the final score will be for week 1. Outside of the defensive line, Atlanta's offense has been one of the more frustrating parts about being a Falcons fan recently. From various O-line struggles and questionable quarterback decisions to a lack of depth with receivers and running backs. But Atlanta has slowly and surely addressed these issues one by one. Kyle Pitts, for all he's been worth, started the hype train, then Drake London, Tyler Algier, Bijan, Darnell Mooney, Kirk, then not Kirk, and finally leading to Michael Penix Jr. The offensive line has significantly improved since Matt Ryan's days, and it seems the front office spent a lot of this offseason building depth with the skilled positions. So can our offense finally live up to the hype? If we use the final 3 games from last year as the model, albeit a small and insignificant sample size, we can see flashes of a team that can score a lot of points. In those final 3 games with MPJ under center, Atlanta averaged 32 points, 245 passing yards, and 160 rushing yards a game. Even though 2 of those 3 games came against teams with losing records and bottom-ranked defenses, if Atlanta can replicate that level of offensive efficiency, I think we can win a lot of games. A few caveats, however, is that Darnell Mooney will be out with an injury for the first few weeks, and Caleb McGarry will miss the entire season. We did just acquire Michael Jarrell from the Seahawks to presumably replace McGarry, and while he played a little below average in his rookie campaign, I'm just happy to see the front office being proactive. There's also our 7th round draft pick, Jack Nelson, but he's currently listed 3rd on the depth chart, so there's no telling what ends up happening with him. But with all of this being the case, I think our offensive abilities sit with 2 people, Michael Penix Jr. and Zach Robinson. It was rumored that Atlanta was pulling from the Washington Huskies playbook back when Penix was in college, and if this is true, that could be a pretty good sign considering Penix was a Heisman finalist. So if Robinson can put MPJ in the right position and MPJ can execute, I think we'll be flying at a high level. But our offense isn't necessarily what I'm worried about. We had the 13th best ranked offense last season, averaging 22.9 points per game, and 14 of those games came with a broken Kirk Cousins. The defense is by far the bigger question. While we have a lot of talent and players like Jesse Bates III, AJ Terrell, and Caden Ellis, our pass rush has been significantly overlooked. But it was a breath of fresh air that we focused almost exclusively on the defense in both the draft and free agency. In free agency, we notably acquired Leonard Floyd and Divine Diablo. In the draft, we acquired Georgia edge rusher Jalen Walker and Tennessee defensive end James Pierce Jr., alongside safeties Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman Jr. All of this, alongside the hiring of Jeff Ulbrich, gives us a fighting chance at a good defense. But again, what can we expect? Last season, we had the 23rd ranked defense overall, but I really think a lot of that had to do with having virtually no pass rush. We were 14th in rushing defense, 22nd in pass defense, 23rd in scoring defense, 28th in red zone defense, and 31st on 3rd down defense. This is also known as not being very good at stopping the other team from scoring. If we want to win enough games to make the playoffs, we kind of have to be somewhat sort of good at that. This season, I do think we'll see an improvement. Ulbrich is a better defensive coordinator than Jimmy Lake. Our roster improved, and there isn't a whole lot of room to get worse. But I also think it'll take some time to develop a defensive flow, and the defense may not look like what we want it to in week 1. I really hate how little our starters played in the preseason, especially Jalen Walker. And I know not everyone agrees since there were quite a lot of injuries this year, but still, I think that's valuable time for our young guys to get reps. The Bucs are coming to town with Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving, Emeka Egbuka, Vita V, Hassan Hassan Reddick, an overall pretty healthy team. Atlanta went 2-0 against Tampa last season, but for some reason Kirk Cousins decided to go God mode in those weeks, so I'm imagining the matchup will be just a little different. I think this game will be close one way or another. I'm a little worried about starting slow the same way we did against Pittsburgh last season, but I guess that was more on Kirk Cousins than anything else. But this game is important for a number of reasons. For starters, it's an immediate division game, and these head-to-head matchups can hold a lot of weight as the season goes on. This also means the season is immediately competitive. Not that the first few weeks aren't usually, but there's a different intensity that comes with playing a division rival. And again, the Bucs have been good. It's one thing to start a season against a team that has low expectations, but competing against a playoff team in week 1 sets an entirely different tone for the game. But what do you think? Again, let me know in the comments how you think week 1 will pan out. More than anything, I'm just excited for football season, and maybe, finally, I won't have to scream at the TV as much as usual. Rise up, and I'll see you in the next video.